Hey everyone, this is Brian Ferguson. I know if you're watching this that you're enjoying the Bumps and Thumps podcast. In order to continue the podcast and get the guests on that everyone wants to hear about, we need support from listeners like you. There are a few ways you can do this. One is going to anchor.fm, which will be on the bottom of your screen here, and click the support button. There you can make a monthly contribution to support the podcast. There's also, we have a Teespring store. We have a link down at the bottom of the screen as well for that. And we have products such as t-shirts like this one I'm wearing, backpacks, glassware, and other great items for you to purchase. Those purchases go directly back into the podcast and get on guests that require financial compensation. Thank you again for your support. Go to those websites and support our podcast, and we will continue to bring the guests that you want to hear about, past and present. And thank you for your support and enjoy the podcast. Thank you for joining another edition of Bumps and Thumps, the talk of wrestling. I'm Brian Ferguson. My guest today was one of the members of Jimmy Hart's first family in the Memphis territory, along with Austin Idol, Dennis Condrey, Kevin Sullivan, and others. He also worked in most of the independent promotions, held numerous singles and tag team titles. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Chic Donovan. Chic, thanks for coming on the show today. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Brian. It's quite an honor just to be here to be able to express some feelings of wrestling, which is, come a long way, and sometimes maybe more of a negative way from what we were raised in the business from the old timers, teaching us the old school wrestling of wrestling, and not so much just stuff.
Yeah.
Wrestling is all about emotions. Now, and the old guys would take the assassin number one, assassin number two, for instance. That was Jody Hamilton and Tom Ernesto.
Okay.
They could be on TV, and a guy in his house. You hear the old stories about my granddad he and I used to watch TV, and he beat up the coffee table with a chair because they had his emotions in their pocket, no matter he was at home and they were on TV, but he still had their emotions.
Yeah.
Now the rest of the guy wears just stuff, incredible stuff. I guess I may be a little jealous of not being able to do all the flips and flops they do, which phenomenal stuff, but it really doesn't have anything to do with wrestling, because like I said, wrestling is all about people's emotions. Bring them up and down in their seat, back and forth and up and down. And, bringing them down and bringing them back up and getting them on their feet. And so that was the old school I was taught from Ole Anderson and got all the older guys. And I was just fortunate enough to grow up in my beginning years with those guys.
Yeah. No, you're not the first wrestler or individual I've talked to that from that era. We call it the golden era.
About TBS era, I call it.
Yeah, it was a great time. I miss it as well as I'm sure a lot of people that are in my age group and maybe a little younger. But if you're under about 40, you've never seen it, you won't remember any of it. So it's a different time.
I'm hitting 75 now, but I'm still in all my matches now. You see all the stuff that the kids do. No matter what match I'm in, I'll do some wrestling. I'll take one tackle, drop down, and get it again. Get some wrestling spots in there, and then try to make all my finishes have a life lesson for the kids. The kids all around the ring, I take them around the ring with the belt and make a special night for them. But because that's the fans 20 years from now. So I still want some of the old school wrestling, and then have a life lessons at the end of my matches. Like if, for instance, something I get mad about something, I'm going to go beat up, hit the referee or whatever. Then I got to show restraint because he's the boss. I got to show the kids that the Lord is or our Father in heaven, or our earthly Father. We have to show respect to, and we have to honor those. So I still, no matter how big you get and how big you get or in life or whatever you obtain, you still have to answer to someone.
Yep.
And that's the lessons I like teaching the kids around the ring and all my matches that wherever I go.
Yeah.
And to me, the other day I showed the result of that. the result of that could be this story, incredible little story. I got cheated out of my belt, the world heavyweight belt, or whatever. It doesn't matter. But I got cheated in the match, and I lost the belt because I got cheated out of it. So this 8 or 9 year old came to me. It's it's streaming on the internet there somewhere, but the comeback. But he came to me with his WWE belt and said, "Chick, since you got cheated out of yours, I want you to have mine."
Oh.
His heart was all over his head. I mean, his heart, it was so heartfelt. I mean, but he was so sincere. Since you got cheated out of your belt, I want you to have mine.
Yeah. That's great.
So the next show we had in the same place, I brought him in the ring, set him in the chair, gave him his belt back, made him Mr. LaGrange, and had all the boys come in and congratulate him like he was the world. And he is the world champion. He's my champion. I guarantee you that. After he said, "Since you got cheated out, I want you to have mine." What? So I guess all the stuff that I do in the ring is translating back to the kids like I was hoping it would be.
Yeah. That's
but
wonderful.
That was so heartfelt. It was unbelievable. I want you to have mine because you got cheated out of yours. Unbelievable, man.
That's a great story. That's wonderful.
It's just, I had somebody filmed all the stuff at the end, and they said I was. Betty White just passed away.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. They said I'm the Betty White of LaGrange, Georgia. But I've done so much fundraisers and all kind of stuff through the years. But that's a lot of responsibility to be a Betty White of a town. But but anyway, I thought it was quite rewarding for all the hard work we put in.
Yes, sir. Well, let's talk a little bit about you growing up. You're from Georgia, LaGrange, I believe, correct?
Yes, sir, I am.
All right, let's talk about your childhood, growing up in Georgia.
The kids nowadays say, "Well, we ain't got nothing to do," so they stay on the telephone and bang with their thumbs on the video games. But back I dug me 18 holes in the backyard and had my in fact, I still got the same golf club here in my room right now. I'm looking at it that I used back in the 50s to hit around that 18-hole golf course I built in my backyard. I'll throw the ball on the roof and run and catch it. I'll throw myself passes. We always learned to keep ourselves busy, plus all the chores we had to do.
Yeah.
But as a kid, I was always kind of rejected. Was last one picked for the team, or I felt really insecure about myself because I was kind of, I don't know what you call it, but anyway, that really gave me incentive to get into wrestling. I think to be the character, because I know who I am and who I ain't. I know when I drive in that parking lot, when I go in that arena, I'm a superstar. I can be assertive. I can be as assertive I want to be in that ring. But when I leave that arena and leave that parking lot, I know who I am. I know that's me there and who I am here. Frank Goodish, Bruiser Brody, gave me that piece of advice years and years ago before he was killed in Puerto Rico. That he knew the difference between Frank Goodish, which is his name, and he knew who he was and who he wasn't. That and it always stuck with me to know who you are in the moment and who you ain't when you leave there.
Yeah.
When you get home, your wife's in charge. Your wife's in charge now when you get home, so to speak. So, you just got to know who you are then, who you are here. But in both cases, you still got to stay humble. Arrogance don't go anywhere, but humility goes a long ways. Because the way you get over the baby face or a good guy in wrestling is that you get in their mouth talking, get in their mind first, and you get in their mouth talking about you. Then you get in their heart.
Right.
And if you work for them, you work for the people. I always work for the fans. If you work for them, and and stay humble, they will follow you anywhere you want to go. Now, if you're a bad guy or a heel in wrestling, I'm doing a movie now called The Heels. But anyway, aside from that, and a heel in wrestling, I'm trying to teach the kids. You don't want them to like you so much, but you want them to respect you for your wrestling ability.
Yeah.
So if you got a young kid in the ring, you don't want to cheat. You don't want to go over there and cheat. You go out there and out wrestle him.
Yeah.
You want to get known for your wrestling ability, and you want to get respected for that wrestling ability, and that's how you get over as a heel or a bad guy in the business, I think.
Yeah. Interesting.
What I've learned through the years.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit how you got started in the business. I've read it. Is it 1978? I don't know if it's earlier than that.
It's a little earlier than that, a couple
Okay.
years earlier than that, or
Let's
maybe 3 years.
okay. Let's talk
I
about your
saw an ad
training and how you got into
in
wrestling.
I'm sorry. Okay, I saw an ad in the paper for wrestlers, and in Macon, Georgia, I was a fireman for there for about 10 years or so, and a paramedic. In fact, I'm proud to say I helped. Was on the ground floor starting all the EMS, all the paramedic stuff or EMS stuff in Georgia.
Okay.
I had the first extrication tool, and really proud to be at that point in the fire as a firefighter.
Wow.
But yeah, I answered the ad that I saw in the paper for a wrestler. So I was told by a few people, "Oh, you can't do that." I was about 120 pounds because I was working 4 full-time jobs,
Yeah.
3 hospital jobs on my day off from the fire department.
Oh wow.
So it was four full-time jobs, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week I was working.
Wow.
I was about 120 pounds. I answered this ad, so I went over to talk to the guy. Grady Odom is his name in Macon, Georgia. He started the wrestling there. I always started that particular entity there at the wrestling school.
Okay.
So anyway, I answered, and I started training. I quit one of the jobs so I'd have time to train every day. And I gained 100 pounds. I had to gain 100 pounds in a year to really get started. So I started eating and eating enough to put that 100 pounds on in less than a year's time, and then started having matches. But just tell the kids that to get to a story, to relate a story, and I'll get right back to where we were just at.
Okay.
I want to make a point.
Okay.
I remember one time I had to be at TV at TBS at 8:00 that morning, and I went to get in my car, and it was broke down. It wasn't cranked. So I'm in Macon, Georgia, on Highway 475 at that point. So we were going on tour that coming week. So I had my wrestling bag, heavy as lead, and I had a suit bag full of clothes, and I had a suitcase that had wheels on it. My car won't go, but I'm determined to make TV. Yeah. So here I go, pulling that suitcase. It's on wheels at this point. Yeah. I got a heavy suit bag across my arm and my wrestling bag in my hand. Yeah. Now I'm walking up Highway 475. Now I got to 75. Now walking up 75. So you can do what you want to do if you want to do it bad enough, brother. Yeah. It ain't nothing to stop you if you want to do it bad. So I'm walking up Highway 75 to TV, 14th Street in Atlanta to get to TBS. With this suitcase. Now, by this time, the wheels are gone. The suitcase is dragging on the ground. It's got a big hole in it for dragging on the highway. Yeah. But I'm going to get the TV. Ain't nothing going to stop me from getting the TV. So I finally get a ride. I don't know. I don't remember how far I walked, but I walked enough to get a big hole in that suitcase, dragging all that stuff. But the whole point I'm saying is I was 120 pounds, and I wanted to be a wrestler. So I did whatever it took. Yeah. We worked every night in the ring. I ate and worked out. Started working out with weights, working out, and just working really hard to get that 100 up to 220. Yeah. You don't have to be 220, but that's about what we needed in those days to be formidable. And training every night in that ring, and then just about every day in the ring. But walking to TV because I didn't want to miss that TV. So guys, no matter what you want, if you want to do it bad enough. You'll just get up, figure out how to do it, and go do it. I mean, nobody can stop you from doing anything you want to do but yourself. Yeah. So back when you asked me, back when I was a kid, I kind of picked on it as a kid. Yeah. So, I could always be that character in the ring. I wanted to be that assertive character. And like I said, but I know who that assertive character is and who this passive character is. So, but anything you want to do, guys, just put your mind to it and go do it. Yeah.
Oh, I agree. Sometimes you get challenges in life, but you gotta, like you said, you walked, so you can overcome it if you really want to,
That's right.
So
if you want to do it bad enough, you do it.
Yep. So let's talk a little bit. Your push. Who gave you the push to have? Because you're a well-known wrestler from the '80s and '90s.
Yeah.
Who gave you that big push?
Well, I guess in Memphis, with the first family was the first real big push. Now Louisiana had a little push, in Florida. Yeah. But I think the first family really, Jimmy Hart, really put me with the first family, and I think that was probably the beginning of my biggest push was right there in Memphis.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I met Jimmy Hart probably a month ago
Really?
here in Harrison, Arkansas. He was at an event there for Mid-States Wrestling. Nice guy, very humble, and I didn't realize how old he was. He's older than I thought, and but
How old is he? How old is he?
he's 79 years old.
He's 79.
Yeah, yeah, he's
Well,
79 years
I'm going
old.
on 75. I didn't know he was older than me. But,
But
wow.
he's a nice guy. Talked to him for a few minutes. You know, there was a big line, so I didn't talk to him too long. But very nice guy. So interesting that when I found that you were part of that first family, I kind of went back to that and Jimmy Hart. So that's great.
So I think something that I can talk about something about Jimmy Hart in relation to what I just talked about. I think Jimmy Hart had platinum records out.
Mm-hmm.
Cinnamon Girl was one of that's been remade several times since, but he recorded in the same studio with Elvis, and although he was on that same category, maybe not quite as far out as Elvis, but he was one of the main characters in the music business.
Yeah.
So he had, like I said, platinum records. Now, in the wrestling business, he took all these bumps. Jerry Lawler just treated him so badly. You know, it was all a work in the business, but he took so many bumps from every direction you can imagine. So, yeah. I guess the point I'm saying, he knew who he was in the record studio, and he knew who he was in wrestling, and who he is outside the business. So. Yeah. So, like I said, you got to know who you are in any entity that you're associated with.
Yeah.
And when you figure that out, then I think you can be productive in life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So, let's talk about your traveling. I know you've been a lot of different places, Japan, all over the States. What was what's some of your memorable travel experiences that you?
Well, the Memphis area was about 2,000-3,000 miles a week. I mean, that was on Tuesday. Monday night we'd work in Memphis, and Tuesday night we'd be in Louisville Gardens in Louisville, whatever it is, Kentucky somewhere. So there's a lot of traveling now the Continental Territory is only 800 or 900 miles a week down in Pensacola area. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Let's see. The Texas Territory was pretty nice. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
But wherever you go, though, you don't have to travel. You know, from town to town.
What was your favorite? I guess who was your favorite person you like traveling with? That you could talk to and stories, or get some ideas or something like that. Was there anybody in particular?
Now my back was so bad at one time I had to get shots to walk to the ring, because in those days there wasn't no injury reserve list. If you didn't walk the aisle, your name was erased off the list. So Honky Tonk Man, Wayne Ferris, he was in the first round with him, but we were together in Texas, and I couldn't walk the ring. I'd get those shots in the back from the doctor in the dressing room. I'd get those shots, and then I'd walk to the ring. I'd get to the ring and get back. And he'd have to pick me up and carry me from the dressing room, and carry me and lay me in the car, and pick me up in the car and lay me in bed at home.
Wow.
So he and I made a lot of trips together. He was one that really and we went to the gym together and did a lot. But Kevin Sullivan was another one. We spent a lot of time together in the Memphis area, working out together, and we roomed together in different places. Wow. Another one, let's see, maybe nobody even knows who he is, but back in the 80s when I was in California, John Tolis, the Golden Greek, John Tolis.
I've heard of him, yep.
Yeah, he's been passed away a long time, but he was really, really wise man, and he really helped me. I would sit and listen and talk. The great Malenko was another one on a 30-minute conversation. I had the belt in Tampa, and was having trouble with it in the matches. And 30 minutes later, he had me straightened out. The old wise man, sit and listen, brother. The young guys in business and young guys anywhere, just sit and listen to your mentors. The mentors ain't gonna lean you the wrong direction. Just listen and follow what they say. And it cost me 30 years of my career. I listened, but I didn't heed. So it cost me about 30 years of my career that I missed the point. I was going through all the motions, but I was in the junk so much. One thing and another was more important at that particular moment in time that I kind of missed. I missed a lot of push because I was off point. Now I teach the point to the kids wherever we go talk.
Yeah.
And schools and whatever. It's all about staying on task, staying the point, staying off the street corner, and staying on task. Whatever you want to accomplish in life, just stay on it, maybe. Yeah. Just forward your head and don't let nobody stop you.
Yeah.
But you
100% agree. Let's talk about some chemistry. Did you have any particular person you can remember that you just really enjoyed working with in the ring? As an opponent,
100 guys, and they all wrestled that same guy. They'd always tell you who it was, Brad Armstrong.
Yeah, I've heard that name before.
Everyone would tell you Brad Armstrong, I guarantee you, because he was like they say, like a night off is the term we used in the business. Another one was Ric Flair. It was Flair. He was the man. He made NWA what it is today. I think what it was in the past. But Flair was amazing because Flair was a wrestler.
Yeah.
But who else? Ricky Steamboat was another I enjoyed. He really we had some great matches.
Yeah.
But those guys, anybody can have a good match. I think they were so talented.
That's what
Paul Orndorff is another one that I really respected a lot.
Yeah.
He was a good Christian guy. I'm trying to think. But there's a few there. But Brad was probably one that was Tommy Rogers. He's passed away now. Of course, Brad has passed away as well. But Tommy and I may have good matches.
Yeah.
He was, we were very good together in the ring. It's all about respect for each other. If you got respect for each other, you're going to have a good match. If you don't, you probably won't.
Yeah.
Kind of bottom line. But we all respect each other. We go out and do what we got to do, beat each other up, but we still got whole respect for each other for all the work we put in to get where we're at.
Oh, yeah.
At that moment.
Indeed.
But to answer your question, I think Brad would be number one in anybody's book.
Yeah. I've heard that name before. I've heard that one and Steamboat a lot. If they've worked with them, they were great to work with.
Yeah.
What about, you did some tag team for a while. Who do you, in your mind, was probably one of your favorite partners?
In Japan, Stan Hansen. Stan was another man that back up just a moment. The other question you asked, but Stan and I were really close. We made a lot of trips together on the road, and he was quite an icon. And he got me in Japan, but we tagged together in Japan a lot. But the one who really taught me how to tag team was Rip Rogers. Now he's still probably wrestling now. He's almost my age, I guess. But he had so many nuances, but I learned how to tag team with him. Yeah, and we worked a lot with Ole and Thunderbolt Patterson, a lot of different places around the country. But Rip taught me how to tag team. I think because there's a lot of different things you do to make a good tag team.
Yeah.
Little formulas and kind of things you go through to make it right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I understand that. Let me ask you this, and if you don't feel comfortable, I wanted to ask you about any real heat with anybody. I mean, did you just not? I mean, you're not saying names. Did you just have anybody you just didn't like working with?
I got the heat with the worst one of anybody you could have heat with in the business. In fact, the two of them, the two top guys in the business, I got heat with, and I don't know, not intentionally, but I did. I was Dusty Rhodes' main boy for a long time. When I was a fireman, he fly me to Tampa to do TV back and forth, and I worked with Dusty a lot, and this, that, and the other. But it was something he wanted me to do, and I didn't want to do it, so I walked out. And that was probably my biggest mistake in my career. Yeah. And somehow, not knowingly, got heat with Jerry Lawler somewhere in the very beginning when I first went to Memphis, and that was not good. Because Dusty was the most egotistical guy in the business, but probably one of the smartest. But the smartest guy I think in the business, business-wise, is Jerry Lawler. And now I'm not going to go into details why I think that, but he is. Jerry Lawler is just incredibly smart in the wrestling business.
I've heard that both those guys I've heard are very.
Yeah, they have a lot of influence, a ton of influence. They made themselves the most influential people in wrestling, I think.
Yeah. Okay, interesting.
But another one thing, and thinking back, I want to mention his name is Man, they had a brain gimmick.
Bobby the Brain?
No, I was thinking about. Well, yeah. Oh, he almost got me killed one night, Bobby Brain Heenan.
Oh, let's hear about
Yeah,
that.
he almost got me killed. I tell you why he almost got me killed is that uncaped the business for a minute, but Charlie Harbin was the referee in Atlanta, and he took the rings up and down. He cut his finger off in that sliding overhead door at TBS, the old studio. So I had to referee that night in Tarleton, and it was Bob Armstrong. Bobby Heenan was Blackjack Lanza's, I think it was his manager.
Okay.
So I never refereed before. So Bobby Heenan told me everything to do. He almost got me stabbed, man. When you got a guy like it was over like Bob Armstrong. Now Bob was if you call a guy a sweetheart, and Bob was incredible.
Yeah.
Bob Armstrong meant a lot to me in my career. But yeah, he was telling me everything I needed to do, and through he walked me through the whole match.
Yeah.
And got me so much trouble, got so much heat on me. Bob was such a baby face. Bob was the man. You grab Bob out of the hair, you got some trouble from the guy from the front row, man. Back then, you didn't have to do too much. Just get a hold, and you work a hold like Ole and Gene Anderson did, and you get heat. That's what the kids think they got to go cheat. They get heat. No, you go wrestle.
Yeah. You
go out wrestle that good guy and try to if you. The only time you're going to cheat if you got the top guy like Bob pull his hair one time, but other people on their feet after you. I guarantee you. You just got to know when to pick you. You got to know when to hold, when to fold them. You got to learn that and when to go home.
Yeah. Biggest
thing I teach kids is when it's time to go home.
Yeah.
To get off the subject just a moment, but they'll go and have a match and have maybe 3 matches all into one. They'll have one match, another match, and another match.
Yeah.
Thinking they did a heck of a deal, but. I mean, one night I went to ask these guys. The first match you had was horrible. The second match was pretty good. Do you know where the second match started? They thought a minute. Yeah, they knew where it started because they could tell when it dies.
Yeah.
They started too high. You got to know when they go home. When you start that high, it's time to go home.
Yeah.
That whole match will be a finish. But if you start low, then you can build it to a crescendo, then go to the house. Mm-hmm. But it's how you start and where you start at when it's time to go.
Yeah.
But you got to realize when it's time to go home. Anyway, when it's over, brother.
Yeah.
And if you lost it, it's time to go.
Right.
Saving.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I got off this. I kind of got off the subject.
That's all right. No, you're good. You're fine.
Keep me in the perspective here.
No, you're fine.
I started thinking about a lot of stuff. A lot of. Let me tell you this story before I forget it. I got to tell you this story. Man. Probably my best story of my 47 whatever it's been years in the business. I was in an airport somewhere. I don't even know where it was at. I don't have a clue. It could have been Pennsylvania. It could have been Florida. I don't know. But anyway, I was sitting in there waiting on the plane, and there was a little blonde-headed girl sitting not next to me, but kind of next to me in the aisle while we were waiting. And there was an older lady across in front of me in the yellow aisle facing me. Mm-hmm. And this little girl looked at me. I was pretty big at that time. I had a kind of a tight T-shirt on or something. And I had longer hair. And she looked at the back of me. Wow. She looked at the front of me. My hair was nice and blonde. It was long. I don't know how long it was, but it was pretty long. She looked at the back of me again. Wow. And she looked at the front of me and real curiously looked on her face. Mm-hmm. She got up and sat next to her grandmama. I said, "Ma'am, was that your granddaughter?" She sure is pretty. And the lady said, "Yeah." And the little girl looked up at Granny and said, "Granny, that lady talks awful funny."
Oh, no.
She thought I was a lady. I just thought that was it. That was, when I've repeated that a lot in the church during talks in different places. I was bringing the story up. I think it's so funny. I mean,
yeah.
It's so endearing. I guess the little girl looked at me that looked so curious, but looked at the back of me, the front of me, the back of me, and looked at the front again. And so that lady talks awful funny. Because I had a much bigger chest than I got now, but whatever. But anyway, I thought that was kind of a good story. And, get me back on track here.
No, you're all right. Favorite promotion or territory you worked in? What do you think is your best place you worked at?
Well, Texas was a great territory. It was golly, it was it was so many people at those matches. It was a really strong territory because it had a strong TV.
Yeah.
It had that TV went all over the country, all over I don't know about the world, but all over the country anyway.
Yeah.
It would sell out everywhere we went. Was a sellout, even more sometimes.
Yeah.
The Von Erichs were Von Erichs. I don't know, 5 or 6 of them committed suicide. All the men in that family committed suicide.
Yeah.
But I worked at Texas Stadium there in Dallas, which was, you know, we had that first Texas Stadium show for David Von Erich. It was out in Japan.
Yeah.
That was a treat. That was quite a show. 100,000. Well, I don't know, about 70,000 people, whatever there.
Yeah, it was a lot.
All of them singing and go shit go. You know, it's pretty cool.
Okay, so you like Texas, your best one, I think?
Well, it's one of them. But at my parting night in Texas, we were at not Rump Arena. That's in Lexington. Anyway, it was the big arena. I forget what they called it, but in the middle of town.
Yeah.
And all the boys parked down in the basement, down underneath. Mm-hmm. But after the show, it must be thousands of people around the top, all around the top, overlooking where the cars come out of that tunnel.
Yeah.
And here comes a new Corvette. They go, yeah. New Lincoln, yeah. This kind of car, yeah. And it comes down. A Silver Shadow Rolls Royce comes down and picks me and my wife up. You should have sounded like it was. Got to sound like dynamite went off, and people went nuts. So they jumped in the cars and followed us all across town, brother. In that Shadow, Rolls Royce, man. That was my last night in there in Dallas, but
yeah,
that was just kind of a memorable situation. But territories, Dallas was good. But Continental probably is the best territory I know, because it's only about 10 or 12, 13, 14 guys, and they run a real. They used to, and it's not there now. They run a real quaint. That's not a word they use, but they run a really good territory right there. And it's a small territory, but it's only 800 miles a week at that moment, and you can make good money there too as well.
Yeah. But
it was only just a certain amount of guys, and they changed the guys every so often. But Bob Armstrong was basically the booker there when I was working out at Pensacola. Another territory was kind of a fun territory was Knoxville.
Okay.
Back in it was 19, I don't remember 19, whatever it was. We were all broke, and I had a '74 Pinto station wagon. Had the smoke coming out of the back end, water running out of the front end. It was me and I just named was him. Anyway, it was 2 other guys. Randy Cawley was one, and they were the Moondogs in New York. Called the Moondogs. They had the soup bone with them. Yeah. But one of them passed away now. But anyway, I had those 2 guys. They were 250 pounds apiece, maybe more. All our bags, and I was 2 there in that little Pinto station wagon. And we were broke and had no money. Kind of putt up the hills of Tennessee and kind of just float down. I had to kind of neutral to go down the other side, putt back up. And but you want to be a wrestler now, kid. But that's like it was almost like a cartoon in that darn car with the smoke coming out of the back end and water falling out of the front end because they busted the radiator or something. You know? But we wanted to be wrestling time. But we were making the town, getting our $20 payoff. Maybe making that town, brother. Couldn't eat. Barely get gas to get to the town.
That's great.
Yeah. You know, it ain't all fabulous like you think it is. It's you know, you got to pay your dues, brother.
Yeah. So let's jump into the next part. You know, we talked a little bit before we got on recording here about the difference between pro wrestling today versus when you came in. What's the biggest difference to you as far as the work and everything, all that?
Okay. When I'm not sure what year it was when ECW came out.
90s.
It could have been somewhere in the 90s.
Yeah.
And all the hardcore stuff.
Yeah.
I made him take it off TV here in town. I didn't want to show it in town.
Okay.
Barbed wire around got razor wire around the ropes, and you got thumbtacks on the bottom of the ring. You got glass Yes, and you got staple machines stapling each other with staple machines. Man, you're hitting yourself with a stupid trash can. I mean, what is that?
Yeah.
What is that? I gave up a life. I gave up a job I loved of 10 years or so as a paramedic. I gave up a big home I had built. I gave up a family to be able to walk in a ring, to walk in that wrestling ring, to be able to continue to walk in that wrestling on a full-time basis. You know, it would just hurt to see all this. I took it off TV. I didn't want anybody to even see that stuff out here because it was so to me, so horrible. But now the wrestling has got to where it's just stuff. I mean, incredible stuff those kids are doing. Now, I have seen a few good shows. The AWE, I'll give them a shout. I think it's AWE. Dusty's son.
Yeah, Dustin Rhodes, Cody. Yep.
Yeah, Cody Rhodes. Jaguars the football team gave him $1 billion to start that business with.
Yeah.
Gave him $1 billion to start AWE. Is it AWE or AEW? What is it? I'm not sure what it is.
AEW, All Elite Wrestling is what it's called, yeah.
Now, on that show recently, they've had some incredible wrestling matches on there since they got the Yes guy. What's his name? It's the Yes guy.
Oh, Daniel Bryanson. Brian Danielson, that's his name.
Yeah,
it used to be Daniel Bryan, yeah.
But they've had some great wrestling matches on, not just he, but a few other matches I've seen that are really, really good old school matches. Because in the back, behind the scenes, they got old school guys. They got the guy from Florida. I mean, guy from Texas. Shoot, I can't think of names offhand. Orrin Anderson is one. Orrin started with us in Pensacola.
Yeah.
Under his Mr. A or whatever he was under a mask. But he's in that back office. He's one of the greatest ever been in the ring. One of the smartest ever in the ring. Because he was mentored by Ole Anderson and all that bunch.
Yeah.
And us and with Bob and Continental and all the other places where we had real wrestling. He became a real wrestler. But anyway, so he's behind that group in the back. So I'm sure they are oriented to the old school more than WWE is.
Yeah.
WWE could care less as long as they make money.
Yeah.
They just go.
Well, you were there for a little while in the 90s, I believe.
They're working with Vince, yeah.
Yeah. How was that for you? Did you?
Vince was great. Vince was great. I really admire. I don't know what the word is, but I admire Vince. I respect him greatly because he always took care of the boys. I thought. An instance. You got WCW on one side and you got WWF on one side. Yeah. We had a big show at WCW one time. Oh, your wife's got to go sit in the car. Well, we do all this stuff out here now. Yeah. Oh, really? WWF. Or WWF. It was WWF, I think, maybe at that point. So I bring my wife and her friend in, and they take them, and Vince has them taken to a VIP seating.
Okay.
VIP. He puts them in.
That's great.
If that's now, Vince says, if you don't worry about it, we'll fix it. WCW puts so much pressure on you. You know, don't worry about it. Vince said, don't worry about screwing up. If you do, we will fix it. Don't worry about it. So you won't. Yeah. You go out with it's a whole different atmosphere. What I'm trying to say, but there's too many people with walk around with papers in their hand with WCW. Too many whatevers, and they only had one there at New York, and that was Vince, basically.
Yeah. He ran the show.
Got his subordinates, but you got one guy leading the thing. Over here, you got so many different personalities.
Right.
They all trying to get over and all trying to fight each other.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's interesting. Yeah. Did you ever work up in Minnesota for the AWA in the 80s or anything like that?
I was supposed to go up and be tag teaming with somebody. I forget who it was. But for some reason, I missed a spot. Somebody else took my spot that was the number one territory for years. Was Minnesota, number one money before Vince took him. When Vince's dad was still alive in New York, so Minnesota at that point was, I think, the number one territory to have been in. Mm-hmm. And but no, I missed it because somebody took my spot for some reason.
Yeah,
I missed the spot I was supposed to have gone to, but I never went.
Okay.
Now I did work with them some. I worked with some of them, and I was called to come up to Kansas City Some of the same guys said that in the same area.
Yeah.
Geigel and all those guys in Kansas City.
Yeah.
And but anyway, I never did make it to Minnesota, though. I think I would like to have had. I thought it might have been a good for me.
Yeah, that's where I mainly, when I was a kid in the late 70s and early 80s, that's all we got. I'm from Wisconsin, originally born and raised, and, we got All-Star Wrestling, AWA, every Sunday, and we'd watch. Yeah, it was my thing, but too bad. Yeah, I didn't know if you were there or not. I don't remember, but I've been wrong.
I worked with him, like I said, in Kansas City that one time, and for a week. With Bob Brown, I think it went in to work with him. But anyway, but I never actually went into Minnesota working there.
All right.
I never went to Canada. I never went to Canada either. I thought it was too cold.
Yeah, Minnesota's pretty cold too. So.
I'm Florida.
Yeah. Okay. Well, one last question here, and what are you up to now? What kind of projects are you working on or doing?
Well, I'm still wrestling most every weekend somewhere.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm just 75. I got some more years left. Now, get back to what I started and mentioned before about being in the junk. I call it junk, or in the distractions.
Yeah.
I missed my six figures, and I missed my six figures because of the junk.
Mm-hmm.
Now the Lord is finally smartened me up, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And let me work at a high level and leave a legacy and teach these kids the old school wrestling while we have a match. Yeah. He's let me be where I should have been. I could have been 30 years ago now because I finally got smart. I'm on task. Yeah. I'm on point now. And it's teaching them, leaving a legacy, making these kids. I take a kid in the ring now and get everything he knows out of him, then I go home. Yeah. Anything other than he knows, if we got it at the end of his knowledge, all he knows what he sees on TV, and I ain't doing all that mess. Yeah. We're going to the Now, if we go to the house and he don't understand it, we sit down and talk about it. Say, why did we go to the house? Why did we do this? Why we did that? Yeah. And let them understand what real wrestling is about. Yeah. But have it and let them feel it. You have to feel it to understand it. You got to feel the perfect jump shot before you ever know what to work to get to one. Mm-hmm. So that's my job now, is to teach these kids how to have a real wrestling match. Yeah. And know when it's time to go. Yeah. If you don't go at the right time, you lose it. You lose it's no good anymore. You got to go at the right time. You got to know when it's time to go. You got to know what to do. It don't matter what you do, but it's got to do whatever you got to do. You got to do it at the right time. So you got to listen to people and let them tell you what to do. Yeah. You can't call a match in the back. That's the worst thing you can ever do. I'm teaching these kids. You got to go listen to the people and do what they want and do what they tell you. Yeah. If you listen to them, they'll come in the ring with you, and you got them right with you the whole match. Yeah. And then they'll move back and forth in that seat and up and down, or however you want them to do. Once you get them in the house, when I sing on the floor, I do a little in the band a little bit. And I'm an entertainer, but I when I'm singing, I sit down at the table with the folks while I'm singing them. I dance with them. I bring them in my pocket. Got them in my pocket with me.
That's great.
You don't have to be a great talent. You just have to know how to entertain folks, and you put the people first. It's all about the people. It ain't about us. Yeah. It's about the fans, and they deserve everything you got. I don't leave nothing behind when I go in a match. Yeah. I left nothing behind. I guarantee you that when I go out, when they get done watching what I do, I'm not blowing a horn. I'm just saying what I've learned. Yeah. I've learned how to appreciate the fans and put them first. Yeah. And those ones that make who we are. Mm-hmm. They're the ones that writes the books and writes the notifications and all the stuff about who we did or what we did. Yeah. So you put them people over first. And then that's just where it's at. It's about the fans, making fans. Yeah. Give them their money's worth, man. Yeah. Some guys want to go out and just get the money and don't worry about the fans. And nowadays, some of the older guys who think they're still worth $10 million, they'll go give you a 10-cent match. Yeah. I get 10 cents to give you $1 million match. I still get 10 cents to give you $1 million match. I don't care what I get. I'm still gonna give you $1 million match. I guarantee you. Because that's my legacy I'm leaving out there with those fans and with those young kids. They gave me that World Heavyweight belt. Yeah. Gave me his belt because I got mine. Because I got cheated out of mine.
Yeah, that's an amazing story. Well, I'm so happy that you're giving back, and I know a lot of wrestlers from your era do that. They I had an interview back a few months ago with Les Thatcher. He trains guys.
Oh yeah.
Uh, they,
You know why we have, because we grew up.
yeah,
We learned life.
yeah,
We learned life like it's supposed to be learned from the old guys, from our fathers and our forefathers, like your granddaddy or your daddy and granddaddy and his granddaddy. You learn respect, and you learn you learn the real deal from those guys from years ago.
yeah,
And it goes back to, I don't know when wrestling started, but it goes back to when a body slam was a finish.
yes.
It goes back to those days. That's the real days.
Yeah,
When you can make a body slam a finish.
yeah,
That. But anyway,
yeah,
you just learn respect for the business, learn respect for the fans, and learn respect for yourself.
yeah.
When I go to a town out, my car is washed.
Uh-huh.
I'm dressed. I teach kids, you go to that town dressed. When I walk in, when I drive in that parking lot, I say my car is washed and I'm a superstar. I got the suit on. I got the suit on. I got all the stuff.
Right.
But when I leave and get home, I say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. I take trash out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Understand. So.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, Chic Donovan, thank you, sir, for coming on today. I really appreciate it.
I got to finish with this. This is my testimony.
Sure. Go ahead.
All the folks, I don't know where this airs or when it airs or even where it goes, but any of those folks who listen to this, just raise your hand to the Lord up in the heavens, and if you have any problems in your life, if you just turn to the Lord, and just, if you need the Lord in your life, just repeat this prayer after me. Say, Lord, I'm a sinner. I believe in Jesus. I want Jesus coming to my heart, forgive my sins, and save my soul. Once again, folks, raise that hand up if you got any thoughts about not having salvation. Because I think we're in the last days with this COVID and all the things going. It's not even going to get any better. It's going to get worse and worse. I think this is part of the tribulations that's going on. That's happening to the coming back of our Lord. So let's raise our hands to the Lord and say, Lord, I am a sinner. I believe in you, Lord. Forgive me my sins and save my soul. If you say those prayers in earnestly, Lord, you'll be in the book of world records in the heavens. I guarantee you, when the time comes. But it's been great to be here with you, Brian, and God, it's always fun to be able to talk about wrestling, I guess.
Yeah, Chic, thank you again. Thank you for your message.
Thank you for having me.
No, I really appreciate it, folks. If you're out there listening, Chic, he lives in LaGrange. He's got a Facebook page. I'm sure you can follow him. You just type his name in and follow him. And thank you again for coming on. I really appreciate it so much. And I learned a lot today from you. And ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chic Donovan. Thanks, Chic, again for coming on.
Thank you very much. It's time to get back to the gym twice a day. Gotta be ready for the fans. Gotta do it for the fans, man.
All right. Thanks again.
Thank
and folks,
God bless you, and God bless all you folks up there in that cold country.
All right, folks, if you haven't subscribed, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.